This is The Miller's Edge with Christian Miller, two-time national champion and team captain for the Alabama Crimson Tide, and former Carolina Panther, and his father, Corey Miller, the pastor of pain, a 9-year NFL veteran with the New York Giants and University of South Carolina Hall of Famer. This is The Miller's Edge.
Yeah, welcome into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTVC. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day. Chase, I'll be honest, man. I've been really active on this new morning routine that I'm trying to push, man. I switched it up a little bit. I've always kind of had a routine, so to speak, but I've added a couple of things. I'm shifted some things. And one of the biggest additions to it has been this ice bath, man. I've always been big on ice baths as an athlete. That's always been something that I've enjoyed doing for recovery and purposes like that. But the more you learn about the benefits of taking ice baths, even cold showers, really just cold water exposure, man. As you guys can see on the stream right here, that's the ice bath that I use right there. Is from Polar Dive. Use that code Miller for 10% off there. But I've been doing that every morning, Chase, and I love it, man. It helps me feel more energized throughout the day. Can help you manage stress better. Overall, just really put you in a better state of mind and really just helps your body get going in the mornings and sets you up for the rest of the day. But a really healthy thing to pick up on. I don't know if you guys have ever tried cold therapy, things like that, but it's really awesome. Again, Polar Dive is the one I use. You can check their website out, polardiveusa.com. Code Miller gets you 10% off. They got different sizes, different things you can do. But what's great about this one, Chase, it's got that chiller that comes with it that actually cools the water for you. That way you don't have to go out and buy ice. And you guys know it's hot as hell here in Alabama. So it was really hard to get an appropriate temperature trying to just, do it myself with ice. Well, that chiller has been game changing. So you can see it right there on the screen. But I love it, man. But anyway, so I've been staying true to that. And then I've been switching up. Sometimes I run in the morning and then I go to the gym later. This time I went to the gym this morning. I'll probably do some cardio later. But I've been active on that little grind there. And I've been enjoying it. So that's how I started my day. Hope you guys had a good start to your day, and hopefully we can help your day keep on going well for the next hour and about 47 minutes or so. 47, that's a good number right there. In terms of what we got scheduled for today, me and Chase were talking a little bit before we came on air. There's a number of things that come up. Number one, if you guys play video games, NCAA, the new game is out. So if you guys have played it, let me know what you guys think. I haven't played it yet. I still have the old one, which I'll be honest with you, I hadn't played it for months, so I'm going to be a little rusty, but I am going to get the new one. But I've seen a lot of people hopping on there and playing it. Allegedly, it's really good. I heard that the high school road to glory is really tough, maybe. I don't know. But I don't know. I'll probably end up hopping on there and grabbing that and playing that sometime this week or this weekend. But you guys already know I'm going to run the table with Alabama. Last year, Jalen Milroe in Alabama was pretty unstoppable. I used to play online with Alabama and use Milroe. And, man, I used to be making people mad on that game, Chase. So we'll see how it goes this year. Obviously, a little bit different personnel you got there, but I'm sure Alabama's still really good. Other news and notes. So we've been talking about this whole revenue sharing thing. A couple of things I want to hit on from that have come up. One was, Chase, I meant to mention this last week, but this one was really interesting. We were talking about schools coming up with ways to generate that money. Well, I know one school in particular, a very familiar school, allegedly is going to do something that we threw out this idea. As a matter of fact, I mentioned this idea on the show. Now, to be fair, I was talking with somebody, and I think I kind of heard it from them first. But we'll talk about what that is that they're going to do to try to bring in some more money and get y'all's thoughts on that. Plus, I was reading Chase up on some of this stuff about how it's been going so far with the revenue sharing. It's kind of interesting. It looks like different leagues and schools are doing different deals. But anyway, we'll probably talk a little bit about that. Plus, we've been talking a lot about recruiting. Maybe we'll dive back into some recruiting talk here in a little bit. I do know we will talk somewhat about recruiting, but not so much on the side of breaking tape down like we were. Chase, you just mentioned this, and I saw this yesterday as well. A lot of people, there's been a lot of conversation, right? Obviously, we've been turning a lot of heads with our recruiting ability in the past 2 weeks, right? We've been on on a trail, right? Just lighten it up on the recruiting trail. And a lot of people are obviously Bama fans are really happy, but people on the outside, they're trying to come up with every excuse that they can think of. A lot of people pointing at Nick Saban, seeing the pictures of Coach Saban, saying, "Oh, well, it's got to be him, right? Coach Saban's got to be the one that's doing all the work." Well, you got some parents coming to the defense of this coaching staff, Kalen DeBoer, and sharing their experiences of being recruited by this staff. So we'll talk a little bit about what that was and what that means as well. Plus, you guys know we always are finding things to watch and break down. Well, I got a video. It's about 4 minutes, not long at all. But what it's going to talk about is Alabama's must-haves for 2025, which we've been talking a lot about what we think. But obviously, we like hearing other perspectives. We'll see what our buddy JD Piquet, I know a lot of you guys aren't big fans of this, but we'll see what he thinks about Alabama and their must-haves for 2025 to have success this upcoming season. That's kind of what I had planned so far. You guys know how we roll. We start one way, we get some calls, we start talking, it takes off. So we're going to do the same thing we always do. That being said, it is a Talking Tuesday, so I'm going to encourage you guys to come talk with us. You guys are in that co-host chair. That means you guys will be featured as much as possible. 205-342-9904 is the number. We'd love to have you guys call in, share your thoughts, talk about something, discuss something. We want to hear from you. Plus, you can always drop any questions, comments, concerns, anything that you might have on your mind in that YouTube chat. Again, we are live on YouTube, live on Facebook on the Tide 100.9 page. You can come hang out, interact with the chat, drop all that stuff right there, and we'll discuss it live on air as well on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTVC. Presented by the Good Feet Store, American Art. You guys already know the deal with them. Any pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain, you name it, check them out right now. Goodfeet.com is the website. Midtown Village is where you can find them here in Tuscaloosa. Walk on in there. They'll show you how they work. Simple 3-step process. Just throw them in your shoes, boots, whatever it may be, and they get to work. Clinically proven to take care of that pain in just 4 short weeks. Go figure out why they are America's arch support experts. Again, that is the Good Feet Store. I've been using them for years. These are game changers. Let them be life-saving for you and help you get rid of all that pain that you might be experiencing today. Again, that is the Good Feet Store. Improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Quick timeout. We come back. We get rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
The Tide 100.9 W.
See, Justin Carson, what's going on? I can't complain, brother. Everything is well on my end. Hope everything's good with y'all. According to everybody else, Saban left because he couldn't keep up with the new age recruiting. Which one is it? Well, that is a good point, man. If he left because he didn't want to recruit, why is he helping out? That's a very fair argument. We've already busted that myth, Carson, though. We've already explained, man, that people listen. I was even I can't remember what video it was. I think it might have been the video we were watching or that I had planned to watch on the show today. But I see so many comments, guys, of people with their theories on things, and they swear that they are so right and that they have this whole code figured out and that there's no way it could be anything else. And when I tell you guys, I'm just reading this stuff and they couldn't be any more wrong. But they're in there, and not only are they leaving comments convincing themselves, so they're trying to convince at least other people of these crazy, baseless theories. Something like that. Like an example would be someone that's literally like, oh, man, Coach Saban retired because he didn't want to recruit anymore. That's a fact. I know because and just start saying all this random stuff that makes no sense. It's just not true. It's crazy. But that is kind of a good point, though. But no, I mean, I think he just happens to be around. But I think Andrew Bone posted something too, though, saying that he was around for a few hours because Coach DeBoer had to attend something. PFF released a new video on Alabama as well. Let me look at that. Let's see what they're talking about. Let's see. PFF. What is that? I saw an article that said Alabama had the best and worst coaching hires of the 21st century. Wonder who the worst would be. Christian, who are the captains on this year's Bama football team? That's a great question. Didn't they do it in the spring last year? They did it before the season. I know that for a fact.
What you need to simplify your...
Did they not do it yet this year? I'll have to look into that.
Depot. Free delivery on appliance purchases of $396 or more. Offer valid June 18th through July 9th. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, we're about to dive into things here on this Talking Tuesday. Again, that means you guys are the co-hosts. So 205-342-9904. We want you guys on here. Don't be scared now. Hop on those phone lines or at least drop us a good app message, a good comment, something to discuss, man. It's a Talking Tuesday. That's the point of it. We want you guys as involved as possible. Chase, where shall we begin? We got some NIL news weekend ahead. We got the must-haves for Alabama in 2025. Plus, Carson just put us on another video, which kind of ties into the must-haves for Alabama. Well, looks like PFF College Football dropped a video previewing a bunch of teams, and Alabama was one of those teams. So we're going to dive into that here in a minute. But, hey, it's Talking Tuesday. We had a question in the chat. We might as well hit that real quick. Bama 2025 says, RTR, everybody. Christian, who are the captains on this year's Alabama football team? Really good question, because I feel like last year they did it around the spring, right? Remember they announced, was it Jalen Milroe, Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson, and Tyler Booker? They announced those guys in the spring, which was totally different from what we typically do. Remember, the way it used to work was we would go the whole year. Now, we had a leadership committee, which was comprised mostly of seniors / juniors / I mean, if you're a young guy, but you're like a key contributor, you could be on that leadership group. But most of it was, veteran guys, right? We had that group throughout the whole year. And then at the end of the year, after the final regular season game, what we would do was, as a team, we would hold a vote. And we'd come into the team meeting room, and basically you get, a sheet to vote on your 4 team captains. I was fortunate to be voted team captain in 2018 alongside Damian Harris, Ross Pierschbacher, and Hale Henges. So that's how that process worked. Obviously, it's a huge honor because it's voted on by your teammates. That's really what meant the most to me. That means everybody on the team literally was casting votes for me and those other 3 guys as their leaders, and meant a lot. Definitely meant a lot. So that's how it used to work, though. Now, last season, I don't know how they came up with the vote, but they went ahead and did it during the spring. They didn't wait till after the season, which I think makes sense, because then you have established captains, going into training camp, going into the season. Not that there's a problem with, having the vote at the end of the year, because what we did was each game, we would rotate guys. So there would be different captains for each week during the season. It almost is I wouldn't say it was testing guys out as captains, but it was giving everybody an opportunity. And then each guy, you get a chance to be a captain that week. And then I guess the other players would get to kind of feel out who they wanted to vote for at the end. To me, the way we did it was more of honoring the guy that earned that nod throughout the course of the year, being, exemplifying, leadership, right? Now I feel like it's more based on kind of the traditional way of just kind of we want to vote these guys to be our leaders for the season, not necessarily based off of what they've done, throughout. You get what I'm saying? Throughout the year, it's kind of like, hey, we're picking these guys to lead us going forward. That being said, I don't know if they've done that. I mean, we could try to Google it real quick. I don't know, Chase, if you've seen who the captains might be, but I don't think I've seen it yet. That being said, I don't think there are any, unless I'm just off and maybe they just haven't announced it. But let's just play this hypothetical game, or let's just try to guess, right? We might as well. If I had to guess, well, you got Deontay Lawson, who's back. He was a captain last year. I don't see how you're not one the following year. As a matter of fact, I think every guy that ended up being a captain as a junior ended up being voted captain again as a senior. Would be kind of awkward if they didn't, right? And there's only been a few two-time captains. If you think about it, you got Rashad Johnson, Smitty. Who else am I missing? Malachi Moore? I'm pretty sure. Probably a couple others, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. So I would say Deontay Lawson. Let's see, Booker, Kai, and Jalen are gone, so you got to replace the other three. I would assume that Ty would probably be one, just because being around there, he's kind of taken on that leadership role. Has a lot of respect from all the guys in that locker room. I would just go ahead and assume that Deontay Lawson, Ty Simpson. We need two more, Chase. Let me think. Offensive line, I would probably say Brailsford. Could be Proctor, but I probably would lean Brailsford. And then we need one more. And it doesn't have to be 2 and 2. But I would probably say one more defender. I would say maybe Sabb. I would say maybe Keon Sabb, Deontay Lawson, Ty Simpson, Parker Brailsford. Those would be my guesses. I see Carson in the chat. He's going with Ty, Brailsford, Deontay Lawson, Keon. Oh, so the same one that I just had. Oh, damn. All right. Bet. And he said maybe TK over Sabb. Could have TK over Sabb. TK is definitely up there for. I think it's either one of those two guys, because I think Deontay, with him being one last year, being a linebacker, I think it's kind of set in stone. I don't know. Chase, you want to play this game? You got any picks that you would think would be the 4-team captains?
I would go with Deontay Lawson for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Simpson, I feel like you definitely need a quarterback as your captains. I think definitely the vocal leader in your locker room. Third, I would put Tim Keenan. I think Tim Keenan, he's been there. He understands what is expected of the team. Especially, he was very vocal last year, which was very shocking to me. And then I would go with Brailsford for sure. So that would be my guesses of who would be the captains for this year's Alabama football team.
Yeah, I think some other mentions that you probably could throw out there. I threw out Proctor. I probably would lean towards Brailsford, especially him being a center. But some extra mentions, I would say, like you guys mentioned, TK, Proctor, maybe LT Overton would be a third one. Man, I feel like that's about what I'll go with. But anyway, great question, by the way. I don't have that answer. I don't think they officially announced them, but that's who we would go with. Yakenji just dropped one. She said, what about Damani? That's a good one. I think he probably could potentially be one. I'll just say this. I haven't seen too many cornerbacks really be named captains. That is a good one. Oh, Bray Hubbard wouldn't be a bad one. We just had somebody drop that one too. Yeah, secondary. Safeties. Yeah, corners. You don't see as many, but definitely. The position really doesn't matter. It's really about guys stepping up. Damani doesn't strike me as the most vocal guy though. So I don't know if I would necessarily select him for that. But to be fair, I don't think that's not a bad option either. I feel all those guys have made good ones. But yeah, that's a good one too though. But Bray, yeah, I think Bray could definitely find himself. When you think, I just look at Keon Sabb and him having the leadership that he had last year, him being the only guy really, to my knowledge, on this team that's won a national championship. I feel like that kind of goes away. And with Deontay already holding that other spot, we assume. To me, I would probably say Deontay and Keon, and then Ty, then maybe Brailsford or one other, whoever. And that to me sounds about it. Paul says, how about Hibbett, our long snapper? Well, he's gone now, so unfortunately he won't be a captain on this team, but maybe on where is he at though? Hold on, who did he sign with? I think he signed with somebody, right, Chase? Nealon Hibbett, who did he sign with? I don't know why I'm thinking Miami. I don't think that's right though. For some reason, I don't know why that just came to my head. Is that right? Wait, hold on. Oh wait, no, I was right. He signed with the Dolphins. Yeah, so he's with the Dolphins. Maybe he'll maybe he'll earn himself team captain role with Miami. Probably not this year, but maybe some point. To be fair, now the long snapper, you don't see many team captains being long snappers, but in Carolina, we did have a guy named JJ who was our long snapper, he's probably going on like year like 15, 16, 17, something like that. I don't know. But if anybody that plays long snapper is going to be a team captain, probably would have been him. Probably would have been him. He definitely has plenty of experience to back it up. All right, that being said, we got to hit a quick timeout. We come back. We got Dairy Queen G on the phone lines. We'll go ahead and go to the people, 205-342-9904. We'll hear what he has to say. Plus, we'll get into what we were talking about again. We got some parents coming to the defense of Kalen DeBoer and company here in Tuscaloosa. We'll talk about what that was about and what that means. Plus, break down some of these videos, must-haves for Alabama in 2025. Preview for Alabama. Are they a true national contender? We'll hear what PFF and On and 3 has to say about those two things. And we come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's art support experts. We'll be right back.
The AUSL is coming to Tuscaloosa, July 22nd and 23rd, featuring the Volts versus the Talons. Then, July 26th through the 28th, Rhodes Stadium will host the AUSL Championship Series. Watch these.
What is the AUSL? Is that was that softball? I'm assuming that might be softball because it said Rhodes Stadium was hosting it. Probably should just continue listening, but sorry, I was trying to pull something up. AUSL, American something softball league. If I had to guess, let's see if I'm right. AUSL. What does it stand for? Come on now. It's got to be something softball league. It's definitely softball. I see that now. Athletes Unlimited Softball League. I'm assuming that's what Montana Fouts is playing in. Maybe. I always thought they said that there was no like professional softball league. Is that true, Chase? They always say that. They always say like, oh, well, there's no pros for softball. But allegedly there is now, or what's the deal with that? I mean, I even see they got Athletes Unlimited Softball on the MLB website, so they got some type of support. Justin said, yes, she is. I wonder why they used to say that there was no pro softball league then. What's the deal with that? It's interesting. This is the video that Carson was talking about.
The Alabama Crimson Tide. And let's face it, Dalton, it was kind of a disappointing year for Kalen DeBoer in his first year as Alabama's head coach, replacing the greatest coach of all time in Nick Saban. They went 9-4 last year. That was their most losses in a season since Nick Saban's first year on the job in 2007.
You know what's interesting, though? It's so crazy how perspective works, because I just was, I think it was Ari and what's his name? I forgot the other guy's name, but I think they do stuff with On 3. But I just saw a video, and they kind of were going back and forth about that whole thing, like Kalen DeBoer's first year. What, like one of them said that he aced his first year. The other one was saying, I can't remember the verbiage he used, but basically said like, you know, he didn't meet. I know he said something about not meeting the standard, and so it's so interesting how
again.
I guess there's different perspectives when it comes to that.
9611.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Talking Tuesday means that you guys are in that co-host chair. So we're going to you guys. 205-342-9904. We got Dairy Queen Jean kicking it off. Welcome in.
¿Qué pasa, mi amigo?
¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás?
Hey, Christian, I got two questions for you today, and hopefully may segue into a third, but I want to know, as compared to the teams of the last 5 to 7 years, how's the team speed going to be in 2025?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Team speed. I would say it's going to be pretty dang fast if I had to guess. I mean, to me, you look at, we'll start from the defensive side. I like defense, but a number of those guys in the secondary, they can run, man. For example, Damani Jackson, somebody just mentioned his name, so I was thinking about him. I don't think he gets like enough credit for his speed, but he's a guy that, I mean, you're talking about low 4.4s. I wouldn't be shocked if he even broke into the 4.3 range. Like he's fast. I don't really hear people talk about it, but you got a lot of guys that can move like that. You look at the linebacker position, Justin Jefferson stepping up into a role there. And we all know, I mean, that dude, for being a little bit on the smaller side for a linebacker, I mean, he can move, right? And then
he's lightning. He is lightning.
Yeah, he is, man. And he's seeking missile looking to hit somebody. Then even on the defensive front, I feel like the personnel that they have is a little bit different than what we've seen in the past here. In terms of personnel, I think you see a lighter group of guys. So obviously you're expecting a little bit more athleticism. What I mean is, LT Overton, right? The Kelby Collins, Jordan Renaud's. I mean, a lot of guys that are playing around that tackle area. I know the Bandit is also a 5 technique, but there's times they'll slide down at 270, which gives them a little bit more athleticism across the defensive front. So defensively, I think you got really solid team speed. Then offensively, I mean, I'm just looking at, guys like Ryan Williams. I think Jeremy Bernard is really quick. I mean, even guys like, Cole Adams, Rico Scott. I mean, like there's a lot of team speed. And in the backfield, I mean, I don't know if we have like that one back that's like a true burner type running back, which I'll be honest with you, I don't think you really need so much nowadays. I think the only guy that I would say fits that mold would be more like a Kevin Riley. Other than that, a lot of them are very similar, but then you also have a guy like Daniel Hill who's different in his own way, but more so on the physical side of things. But to answer your question, I think we'll have some really nice, team speed. Now, if you're trying to compare like the receiver room to like, the Judys and the Calvin Ridleys, I mean, I think it's up there. I don't know if I would say it's necessarily more, like faster. There's more speed there, but I would say it's close or about the same. In my opinion, I think.
I'm gonna give you an A on that answer. That was very comprehensive. That was a very comprehensive answer. Now let's get to part B. Who's going to run the punts back? Who's going to be the punt returner?
Punt returner, my guess would be between a guy like Cole Adams. We saw him do that a number of times last year, especially given that you have so much depth in that receiver room. Give him a role there. He's good at it. You're not just trying to give people roles, but you get what I'm saying. He's good at it, and that keeps you from having to use maybe some of the other guys. Even a guy like Mbakwe, right? You got a lot of depth, right? So I think between those two, I know you saw Ryan Williams do it at times. Obviously, he gives you that big play ability, but you do have a decision to make. I mean, do you want to put your best player in a position there that, yes, he could give you a spark, could make a big play, but also I'm not necessarily saying you're putting him in harm's way, but we all know there is some risks that come with that. But I would say probably Cole Adams and Mbakwe, maybe a little Ryan Williams here and there, depending if they really just want to try to, create a big play or whatever the case may be. But those would be my two guesses because we've seen them do it, and they both are really good at it.
What do you think about Brooks? Although we don't have much data on him, what do you think about him returning kick?
Oh, you're talking about Latia Brooks, the freshman?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'll be honest. I don't know if he has experience doing it. I mean, in terms of athleticism, I mean, hell, from what I've seen from him in the spring, I mean, that dude is a freak athlete. I definitely think if he's comfortable fielding kicks, because people got to remember, I mean, playing receiver is one thing, but fielding the kick, seeing the ball in the air, having to adjust to it, knowing that you got traffic coming, making those critical decisions, right? It's a lot different than the receiver position. So if a guy hasn't necessarily done it, sometimes it takes them some getting used to. Now, obviously, we know once they get the ball in their hands, if they know how to make guys miss and they're a playmaker, you expect that. But there are a number of other things that come with that. That being said, if he's comfortable and is capable of doing that, making smart decisions and securing the football, I think you definitely could. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm glad you brought him up. That dude, in terms of like his yard after after catchability, is ridiculous. I mean, he really looks like they always say like a joystick type guy that you're playing a video game with. I mean, the way he can stop and start on a dime, like make guys miss. I mean, I was watching. He had a play in the second scrimmage this spring, and when I tell you, I mean, he was just making defenders look silly left and right, breaking ankles, people flying off him. I mean, like that dude he's going to be a dangerous guy with the ball in his hand. So that's a good one to bring up. I definitely wouldn't be shocked if they find a way to get him back there too.
All right, you hit those two out of the park. You hit my high stinky cheese out of the park. Now here comes your curveball.
Here we go.
How do you feel about branding? Say Mercedes-Benz will give University of Alabama $10 million for Alabama to wear that Mercedes star on their jersey. Or Florida has Gatorade stars because it seems like that's where we're getting to, is that we need more money, and that you can only make tickets so much. You can only milk your constituency and your alumni for so much. So how do you feel about branding?
I love that question. That's actually what we were going to dive into today when I mentioned some of the ways that these schools are probably going to be generating some of that money for the revenue sharing. I want to share this on the screen with our audience on YouTube and Facebook. But so basically, LSU is the football team that I was referring to. And they've already announced that one of the key things that they plan on doing is to sell jersey patch advertisement. And that's I mentioned it on the show because I was talking with somebody and they said, like, hey, we're probably getting to a point where we've seen this in NBA, right? We've seen this in other leagues where they sell that advertising. Look, I'm a big wrestling guy. It's a little bit different, but we've seen how they've started selling, the tables that they use. They put Slim Jim branding on the tables for the wrestling matches. They put advertising in the ring. We see how much UFC, a lot of combat sports and boxing too, they really utilize as much branding as possible. Now, we've always had branding around the stadium, right? We've had those video boards on the field. When I worked at the sideline, right, I'm doing the sideline reporting, there would be video boards displaying ads, and they would say, "Oh, you can't stand there. You got to be clear of the ads." Like, it's a big deal, right? Because people pay a lot of money for that. Well, the next step up is, like you just mentioned, that's the branding that you could potentially see on jerseys. Well, LSU announced that they plan on doing that, but it is pending NCAA approval. I don't know if there's an update on that approval. I think this article was written 5 days ago when this first was announced. But I'll say this to answer your question, and that's a really good question, because I'm actually going to spin that question back to our listeners too, because other schools, I'm sure people wouldn't really bat an eye. But we're talking about the University of Alabama, right? And we all know about tradition.
Exactly.
We know about the significance of that tradition here. And we all know that even the slightest change to a uniform here at the University of Alabama is not going to sit well with the large portion of the fan base. Would they be okay with maybe some type of brand patch on that jersey, knowing that it could help potentially save them money from having to pay more, for tickets? I don't know. You guys need to tell me, because I'll be honest. I'm fortunate, with working with broadcasting. I don't have to pay for my ticket, which is a blessing. But I do know tickets are very expensive nowadays, and I'm sure they will probably go up with the new revenue sharing. That being said, in my personal opinion, I think if it's done the right way, I don't think it would hurt too much, and this is why. We've seen the patches that they put on that don't really stand out too much or make a difference. Hence, SEC graduate patch. Now, obviously, that's says SEC graduate. That's honoring a player for graduating and showing off that accolade. A little bit different, but what I'm getting at is it doesn't take too much away from things. Another one, when you play, this one is probably the most similar here. When you play in a bowl game. If you're playing the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl or whatever, you have a patch on your jersey that literally says Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Or if you play in whatever bowl, like, you have a patch that says that. And I don't think people really even batted an eye to it. Now, this is a little bit different because you're not playing in a bowl game. You just have a brand connected. I've always thought it looked a little funny sometimes, like with the NBA jerseys, like with certain brands that are on there. So I think, to answer your question, look, if it helps keep things sustainable for us and to be able to compete and have the money to pay all these recruits that we're bringing on board that are 5 stars. Look, I think you just have to adapt to it. It might not be the prettiest thing. You might not love it, but I think over time you'll get used to it. But I also think it's important, like who that brand is, and to do it in a sleek way where it doesn't stand out and just look tacky. But that's my personal opinion. I want to turn it back to you. I mean, what do you think, Dairy Queen Jean? Do you think it's too much, going too far, or how do you feel about that?
Well, strictly speculating, if someone like Mercedes, which I would assume as involved as they are in Tuscaloosa County with the university, that you could get a sponsorship or branding out of them, and what logo is more recognizable throughout the world than that Mercedes star? Who has Canes, Gatorade, Crocs? Who has more money than Mercedes-Benz? They're a globally international country. And you wouldn't even have to put words on it. You could just put that Mercedes star there. Now, if that gets us another 10 mil and brings in more 4 and 5 stars and elevates our program, we can get used to it. Because I barely know the Peach Bowl and the bowl patches myself. And you know, that's kind of an honor to wear that bowl patch. You made it to a bowl game, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, no, and that's a good point. I'm glad you recognize that those bowl patches, I mean, I'll be honest, even like if I went and showed you guys the difference between my regular season jersey than a bowl game jersey with that patch, it's very subtle. And if anything, like you mentioned, the bowl game patches actually were kind of cool because it's almost like a slight little decoration and a, you know, honoring of an achievement. But I like what you said, though. I mean, a brand like Mercedes, a simple logo, it's classy, very recognizable. It's a logo that when you think of it, you think of high class, of a high standard of a vehicle. I think something like that would be good. Now, say you had like something kind of like Raising Cane's. I love the food, but if we had Raising Cane's on an Alabama jersey, I don't know. That would be a little funny to me. Does that make sense? I agree with what you're saying.
It makes beautiful sense. We can give that to our Cajun brothers over in Louisiana.
Yeah, they can have it. Yeah, that probably would actually make sense too. They probably would consider something like that. I think with us, it has to be like you said, a simple, classy brand, classy logo. Simple would be better. Mercedes, maybe I'm trying to think of who else is just simple. I mean, even like some of these banks that have a simple logo, like a popular bank that's
Christian, a sticker on back of the helmet, a small sticker on back of the helmet.
Now that to me, I think would be a lot more subtle and a lot easier for people to get used to. A sticker on the back of the helmet. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of grows. It kind of grows as you get used to it.
Yeah, and but here's I mean, look, money talks. I mean, to your point, I know you mentioned like 10 million. I'll be honest with you. I mean, to put a sticker or a patch, excuse me, on an Alabama jersey, it's going to bring in a lot of money. I don't have the data on right now, but what I'll do is during this break, I'll look it up. I know, who was it? Somebody paid like Los Angeles, like the Lakers. When I tell you they got paid so much money just to put that patch there. I mean, we're talking, I think it was like hundreds of millions of dollars to be able to own the rights to do something like that. Alabama could really take advantage of that. It's up to them. I don't know if we will necessarily do that, but it's something to consider if they really want to find a way to really break the bank in terms of not having to worry about that for a while at least.
Sounds cool. I'm going to leave you with this, Christian. I appreciate the time and I appreciate your opinion. But what you going to do when Dairy Queen G's 5-inch pythons wrap around you?
Oh, God. Oh, wow. Hey, man, great stuff, brother. I appreciate you. Oh, wow. That's funny. All right. We got to hit a timeout. We come back. I want you guys to respond to that. That's a great point, and it led into one of the things we wanted to hit on today. Would you guys be okay with Alabama putting a brand patch on their jerseys? Now, again, we know the tradition here is almost sacred, right? A lot different than other places. LSU's going to probably be doing that. I don't know if they're going with Raising Cane's. Wouldn't shock me if they did. I think they do have roots there. But what do you guys think about that? And if we did, what brand would you like to see on an Alabama jersey? Who do you think would be a good fit? Let me know. 205-342-9904. You can drop it right here live on our YouTube chat, Facebook chat, or in an app message. We still got that as well. Quick timeout. We'll be right back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, Carson, that was a great question, man. Great question. It's almost like he read my mind because I was bringing up the LSU patch thing, and he literally beat us to it, which I love it. Because I mean, I love the perspective he went with. Because at Alabama, it's just different, right? Let me find that price. How much those people paid? Is it SoFi? Who is on their jersey? Let's see. I mean, and to be fair, I mean, Lakers got a lot of tradition too, right? I don't think it necessarily did too much there. Oh, here you go. For example, the Lakers' previous patch sponsor, which was Wish, I think it is $199 million. Wait, in sponsor media value. So I don't know if that's how much they paid or how much it was worth, but that's what I was saying. I think it's like the hundreds of millions. Maybe sponsored by Saban, Mercedes. The problem is, guys, I mean, you got to think big. Like, I don't know if, like, Coach Saban owns a couple of dealerships, and obviously he's got money. But, I mean, when you're talking about putting a brand patch on there, I mean, it's typically going to be like a company, like a big brand, because we're talking big money. Amazon's logo is pretty, I think it's pretty simple now, isn't it? Yeah, I can see Amazon maybe. UGA, the Hellcat patch. Y'all are wild. I had no idea it was hundreds of millions. Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, that's what Google's saying. I'm pretty sure it was around that. Let's see. Let me clarify, though. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. But think about it. That would take care of your revenue sharing for what? You get $20 million a year or 20.5. You do it for $200 million. That's 10 years. You ain't got to worry about revenue sharing. It's about putting a patch. And listen, we would get top dollar for that patch. I mean, it's Alabama, right? I mean, other schools aren't going to be able to get that. Let me see. Oh, never mind. I was wrong, guys. So I guess it was worth that, but I guess 3-year, $12 to $14 million deal with Wish. Never mind. I was wrong. Fake news, guys. Don't listen to what I said.
Ryan Harding Construction at 205.
I guess it was $200 million in value, though.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, so let me clarify. So I think Wish paid about $12 to $14 million to put that patch on the Lakers jersey. Now, I was thinking it was the hundreds. And I guess the response that initially came up where I was thinking it was like 199 million. I think it was saying that was like the value of it over the course of, I don't know, in terms of like the whole media, I guess, deal or whatever they were receiving. But I do know, to name a stadium, though, like that type of deal, like Crypto Arena, stuff like that, that is in the hundreds of millions. So maybe that's what it had mentioned. I don't know, but there's a little bit more of a clarification. So I would say, look, the deal to put a patch on an Alabama jersey would probably at least bring you in about $10 million annually, in my opinion. If that's the case, I mean, do you consider doing that? Yeah, you're risking kind of affecting a little bit of the tradition, but it's a new day and age. And it's not like you're changing the jersey. You're just putting a patch. Like, let's see if we can find a picture of, like the playoff patch and see if just an action shot of somebody playing and see if you guys really even notice like a big difference. Because I'll be honest, I mean, I don't think let's see, like Alabama versus Michigan, right? That was a bowl game. Let's pull up a picture. Let's see what the bowl patch looked like in just a regular picture. I think we got to find somebody that's head on. I mean, even now, I mean, you got patches like the captain's patch, which is newer with Alabama. That was cool. I like that. You got the SEC graduate patch. The Big Ten has literally their Big Ten logo on the patch, Big Ten patch on their jerseys. I don't think we have. Yeah. What am I talking about? We got the SEC logo. That's what I was getting confused because the graduate patch replaces that, but it still says SEC. So you already have like the conference patch on those jerseys. The other thing that this article mentioned that could be for sale in terms of generating revenue was where did it go? Dang, I just had it pulled up. Where is this article at? Oh, here it is. Also brands selling things like field patches. That probably, if I had to guess, I would assume that would probably be the first thing sold before a jersey patch, just because the jersey patch, again, I feel like you really are, it's a little more, when I say intimate, you guys get what I'm saying. I mean, like you're putting it on the jersey, but putting the logo on the field, what do you guys think about that? I don't think that would be, I don't even think people would hardly even pay much attention to that. And that could definitely get you some good money. But look, I think we're going to see a lot of that stuff. And I think a lot of it is going to come where you might not even see. I mean, think about it. We already sold advertising all around. I think they might just turn up the heat with that stuff and find even more ways to really generate revenue. But what about a field brand, Chase? I mean, what do you think about that? Obviously, I think you would agree that's probably a little bit easier on the eye than maybe a jersey patch. Would you be cool with them selling, a field patch, let's say like on like the 20-yard line, you see an Amazon logo or whoever it may be, a Mercedes logo on the field? Do you think that's cool? That wouldn't bother too many people, Chase?
It depends on the program, because there's such rich history when it comes to like, Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State. People were fighting tooth and nail because the stadium name was being changed here in Tuscaloosa. You remember that? Like people were not happy that changed. So could you imagine seeing that on the field, like a Mercedes, a logo that someone might not even agree with? So I don't mind it because it'll bring in revenue and bring in a lot more opportunities. Heck, I think Arkansas, their men's basketball stadium is, I think it's sponsored by Tyson, the chicken nugget spot. So, it could help, but you're going to always have that few that they want things to stay the way they are. The tradition needs to stay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. I mean, and look, and I get it. I mean, look, I love tradition. You know what's funny, man? Like, it's so crazy how as you get older, like your mindset kind of changes a little bit. Like I'm going to put myself back when I was in high school, and don't get mad at me, guys. Listen, I've changed my views on this, but funny enough, when I was coming out and I was considering coming out of high school and I was considering what school that I wanted to attend, I vividly remember one of like the drawbacks in my mind at the time to coming to Alabama was that the jerseys and the uniforms were a little basic. And I'll be honest, for some reason, and at the time, I just was like, man, like the only thing is the uniforms are a little more plain. And to be fair, what's crazy, the uniforms have stayed the same in terms of like the design. But if you go back and look at how the uniforms looked back in 2009 versus how they do now, the technology is different. Like the Nike Pro, you know what I mean? Like the jerseys fit different. I'll be honest, the Alabama jerseys look so much better than they do now, like in today's age versus how they did back then. Even though the design is the same, but the material, the quality, just the way it's constructed is so much better. But I vividly remember that was one thing that I was like, man, I just wish Alabama had more, just more to their uniforms. But now, and after being here, man, I've grown to just kind of love the simplicity of it, man. Like as simple as it is, like I've turned into one of those people where I'm like, please don't let us get into the crowd of, having these crazy alternates. Now, I wouldn't mind like I think the white helmets were something. I mean, we've done that in the past. So we brought back like a white helmet for one game. I wouldn't be too mad at it. What would you guys think about that? I know there's been a lot of talk about that, but to me, something like that, maybe for one game, I'm not too mad about. But I've always been more, I guess, simplistic when it comes to a lot of things. In high school, I guess I was a little bit different. I wanted a little bit more flair when I thought about Alabama's uniforms, but I've grown to love and appreciate that. So there's that. We got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll keep on rolling with this. 205-342-9904 is the number. We're open on the phone lines. We want to go to you guys. It's a Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge. We're talking plenty in this YouTube chat. If you guys want to come join, hang out with us at the Miller's Edge on YouTube. You can interact in the chat. You can watch me do the show live. What's up, everybody? You can always watch what we're watching, right? So we got some videos to play coming up in hour number 2. We'll watch that. You guys can see it. Or if you guys want to hang out on, radio or the app, no worries. Hang out there, but always want to offer you that ability to see things as well. Top hour break. We'll be right back right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. We'll be right back. What did you just say, Ricky? That's how you know we need to get back to winning when we start talking about uniforms. Bro, it has not. Listen, this is because it's literally early July. We're like on the brink of being so close. You know what I mean? Because next week you got SEC Media Days. We're going to be hitting it, right? We're going to be listening to all these coaches talk. It's going to be amping us up. And next thing you know, we're literally 2 weeks shy of training camp really kicking off. Really, probably a little bit less than that. No, it ain't that, bro. It's not. Listen, this came up because look, I love diving into the NIL talk, the NIL space. Speaking of that stuff, I don't know if you guys saw this, and I'll get him on the show to talk about it. But CJ Mosley, former Alabama linebacker, as you guys are, I'm sure, well aware, but he did just retire, and he's already announced a new venture. Now, he's been doing stuff off the field, of course, but this is his latest thing that he's doing, and that is he started his own agency. It's called Legacy Sports Agency. And so he's working in this space now. So anyway, it's just, look, times are different. And I think it's just interesting seeing us kind of, adapt to this new age. So that's why I like keeping up with it. Anyway, so that's where this whole thing came from. But yeah, I love the idea of trying different uniform combinations. Or should I say different types of uniforms? I'm open to the patches too. I don't think it's going to take much away from the uniform tradition. Yeah, I don't think a patch would take too much away. I'm trying to find. You tell me there's just not many pictures from the Alabama-Michigan game. All right, here's a player from Michigan at least. I mean, as you guys can see, he's got the patch. Why is that not zooming? I mean, he's got a patch on his shoulder. But see, like those playoff packages, those playoff patches, not just playoff, but those bowl game patches, they're always bigger too. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it would be that big. Like, I think it would be much smaller. Matter of fact, let me show you guys. Like, I think this would be. Hold on, let me pull up this picture. I think this would be a lot more adequate. Hold on. Bro, why are no pictures coming up? All right, like this. Like a patch like that to me would not really affect anything. Like something simple like that. I feel like that would be just fine. Like, let's see who who's on the Lakers one now? Is it still Wish? Wait, but let me ask you guys this. When they sell like a fan jersey, do those fan jerseys have those patches too or no? Okay, like here's the Lakers. Like something like this. Like I think it has to be something simple, guys. I think if you're going to do a brand, like it has to be basic, like this. You see what I mean? Like, no. Okay, so I guess if you buy like a Lakers jersey, it doesn't come with that. It's only for the actual player jerseys. All right, fair enough. That's even better. Hell, I mean, if you did that, if you had it on any jersey being sold, then they'd have to pay bank. But yeah, guys, I think something like a logo like that. Like for example, if you're doing Amazon, I think Amazon has a logo that's just like, what is it? It's like 3 letters or something. I know Amazon has got a couple different or maybe I'm thinking of like their wait, maybe Amazon would be a good one because it's an A. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, so we've been talking a lot about this this whole jersey patch thing, more ways to generate revenue with the new revenue sharing model. Shout out to Dairy Queen Gene. He threw out the question. He posed a question: how would Alabama fans feel with an Alabama patch, right? It's one thing to sit there and say, oh yeah, that makes sense. You can make some money doing that. But then really imagining Alabama with all the tradition having some brand patch on there. I don't think it would be the end of the world. We were just talking here on the YouTube stream and Facebook stream that, excuse me, I think it'd have to be something simple. Like you see the Lakers with that Wish patch. I mean, it just says Wish, their logo, right? But because it's not like some like crazy colorful logo or anything, like that, it's just right there in the corner. I don't think it's that bad. Just like Mercedes logo, I don't think would be too bad. And to me, I like the idea of Mercedes. Like, Gene mentioned that there's a lot of roots of Mercedes here in Tuscaloosa. I mentioned that when I think of the Mercedes brand, we all know we think of luxury, high class, even though, I mean, one could argue that. I mean, you're really just paying for the brand, but you guys get the point. But when you see that logo, you think of top dollar luxury type vehicles, right? Well, I think the logo's simple, the brand and the quality of product is supposed to be really high quality. That would work. At least in my mind, I think that could be something, but I guess we'll have to see. I think selling the field, advertising probably would be the first step, though, before they touch the jerseys, right? But I guess that's something to probably ask Greg Byrne, right? I guess he would probably be the one to really sign off on that. I know you got Crimson Tide Sports Marketing, but they're not going to be able to sell any of that without getting clearance from Greg Byrne. So I guess we'll have to maybe ask him. And let's keep on rolling, though. It is a Talking Tuesday. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program. All right, next up, we got Smitty on the phone line. Smitty, welcome in.
But what's going on, Chris? First time caller, long time chatter.
There you go. Good deal, man. Hey. Welcome in.
First, I'm happy that you're a fellow wrestler fan. Shout out to you.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is, right, one of the patch. People got to look at it this way. You can't depend on fans footing the bill to pay players when it's really the responsibility of the school and conferences, because you see the price of food, gas, people may have kids with child care. You may lose a job, have an economic downturn. Good luck getting fans to pony up that little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just being real. But one thing about the board, right, and I think people got to think about, right, everybody looked like it was a down year last year, blah, blah, blah. The cracks were starting to show in the foundation when Bryce Young was the quarterback. Bryce Young, led the team to a natty title game, so no one said a word. Even the year before, Jalen Milroe led the team to a SEC title in the playoff game. So no one says anything about cracks when you're winning. I remember Alabama's down left tackle. They had to get a left tackle from Vanderbilt in the portal. I remember. JMO was the best receiver they had. He had to give him Ohio State, and the next year they led the league in drops, the country in drops, if I remember correctly. I think what happens is when people look at winning, they overlook a lot of things. And even last year, people thought the script, hey, look at those guys who left last year. And, you know, here's the first major coaching change in an era with unlimited transfers, and you had a spring portal also. And I think Christian being 9-3, 9-4 after everything's said and done, with the things we heard about guys not taking notes, things not buying in, may have been the best thing culture-wise in the long term, because he could build this program truly in his image, and people say, hey, this guy's way didn't work. And my last thing, we had a 17-year-old be wide receiver number one. If the team was that stacked, I don't think a 17-year-old be wide receiver number one.
Dang. Now, you dropped a number of things on me, Smitty. Dang, hold on, man. Let me let me start from the top. No, I love it though. Nah, you went in. I love it. First things first, you're 100% right. Times are tough. Economy now, even though the stock market's back to some all-time highs. I mean, the prices of things, while some of them have gone down, we've seen gas and eggs; those prices have gone down. The reality is, I mean, look, I mean, it's hard for people to afford a lot of things nowadays. I mean, that's just a fact, and I think that's why the patches and the field advertising, those things actually benefit the consumer. It benefits the fans because that's less money, and really, that's why revenue sharing in general somewhat helps the fans. It's kind of, it could be a double-edged sword, because you could say, oh, well, now the schools are going to hike prices for tickets up to cover that cost, because a lot of them are already in negative deficits. But at the same time, they already were asking fans directly to donate money to the collectives to pay these players. So now, to me, I'm like, yeah, the fans could see some negative effects of revenue sharing, but also it does take pressure off of all that. Hey, donate to the collective. Now it's almost just like, you just hope that they find other ways like this to generate money without passing that cost on to the consumer / fans, which hopefully that's not the case. At Alabama, that's not going to be the case. We've heard Greg Byrne talk about it. They don't plan on really doing that. But I can't speak for all other schools. In terms of other stuff you said in terms of, the team, right? I'll say this. Yeah, there definitely has been cracks. And, if you guys have listened to our show, we've talked about that. And that's why we take pride in being honest. Now, again, I'm always going to try to find any way to spin it in Alabama's favor as best as I can, while maintaining my honesty, right? Because my honesty is my credibility, right? I want to be viewed as any of these other guys on these networks that have that playing background, because I take pride in that, right? I don't want to just be somebody that just says what people want to hear. That being said, we've been talking about that on this show. We've talked about the struggles with the offensive line. We've talked about the inconsistencies in the running game. We've talked about the lack of physicality, the lack of dominance in the trenches that we're seeing in the last few years compared to 10 years ago. I found out it's been like 10 years since the 2015 national championship, which was my first one. Crazy to think about, but anyway, we've been talking about that stuff, and you're 100% right. That those things have shown up over the last few years, and so it isn't fair to make it seem. And that's why I always reiterate: a lot of these things didn't just happen when Coach DeBoer got here. I think some things might have amplified a little bit. For example, like you mentioned, the guys showing up late to meetings with Coach Saban, that wouldn't have flown. But to be fair, he was getting a little bit more relaxed compared to how he was when he was with us. So that is true. But in terms of like the on-field play, I think, yeah, you're right. I mean, I don't know if it came from we just weren't landing the same level of recruits. That's why I always urge people, don't always just go off stars. Trust what your eyes are telling you. That's why I always say I go and watch tape. I don't just go, oh, all right, we got 5 stars. And these industry recruiting guys, with all due respect, I know they work hard and they do a great job. But not all of them really understand what they're even looking at, right? Some of them, they're just looking at analytics and numbers. I go watch tape, and the tape will tell you the story. And I think if you watch Alabama's tape, we haven't had consistent play in the trenches or dominant play, I should say. We've been undisciplined even before Coach DeBoer got here. That's a fact. We were one of the most penalized teams in the country for, not just 1 year, but over the course of a few years. And we haven't been running the ball consistently. I mean, the list goes on. There's a number of things that you can point at. So, yeah, I agree with you there. Now, I will say, I don't know if I would say that's the best thing that's happened in terms of having guys kind of do what they please last year, just because to me, you don't want that to be your foundation, because you don't want it to say, hey, Coach DeBoer allows this stuff, or this staff, lets us get away with this stuff. And then that becomes a frequent thing. To me, you don't want that. You want your team to understand, like, hey, that isn't accepted, which it sounds like they've kind of adjusted that. Sounds like, Coach Ballou, who's been working with those guys this summer. I mean, they I don't know what it was that necessarily made them hit this shift, but it does sound like going into the summer program, they've tightened up on a lot of stuff. And I think that was really important. And hopefully we reap the benefits of that. But no, I think you spoke a lot of facts, Smitty. I'll be honest with you, man. I thought that was a lot of good stuff.
Appreciate it. I end with this, right? I remember people kept saying if Bryce Young wasn't there, they would have been 8-4. I remember that. And even the offensive line last year, Wilkins Formby was not ready. Offensive line is a developmental position. It takes time, to get there. And I think sometimes this is the first big coaching change that we had that had a winter portal in that portal where all these guys left. And then you had that spring portal rearing its ugly head. So,
true.
And so that is a pain in the butt. So then what happened? You had a mass exodus then, and you go 6-6, and everybody's still crying. That was my point there, because sometimes, and we don't know what may have adjusted throughout the season as well. But I like the fact that the guys on this team now are fully bought into him, and the guys who aren't, they gone elsewhere. And the thing about the talent, not too many of those guys left and went to Ohio State. If you get what I'm saying, and I ain't knocking them. But I saw a lot of Baylor's, Kentucky's, Kansas. I'm not knocking those schools. So that's why I say sometimes star ratings are great, but at the same time, it's about your play on the field. And that's why Loxier Brooks is a 3-star, and people are just excited about him as everybody else. But I know you got things to take care of, man. Thanks for taking my call, and I'll chime in again soon.
No, please do, man. No, really good stuff. And no, you're 100% right. I missed that point. You also mentioned the Ryan Williams thing. You're right. I think one thing we learned, and a lot of people can agree on. Now, people got upset with my dad when he was saying last year he wasn't too sure about the talent that we had. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? But then as we saw, just like you mentioned, I mean, I think it was clear. While we did have a talented team, it probably wasn't the most talented team that we've ever had here in Tuscaloosa. And, again, I think moving forward, like you just mentioned, the guys like Loxier Brooks, the guys that they're starting to bring in, I think they're landing some good guys, and if they continue to do that, they develop them the right way, man. We should be in good shape. But you're right, man. You turn on the tape, and it tells the whole story, not just last year, the last 5 years. And, I also always urge people, man, trust the tape. Don't just listen to people just talk, man. Go watch the tape. I guess he had to go. There you go. So appreciate that, Smitty. All right, we got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. 205-342-9904 is the number if you guys want to hop on the phone lines. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Bobby, what's going on, man? Yeah, good to see you, brother. Yeah, my dad hops on here. Don't worry. He still hops on here. He claims during the season he'll be on here a whole bunch more. He's kind of in and out, man. He's been doing some more preaching, so. Yeah, Candy said that's why you mentioned Amazon. Pretty simple. Yeah, and it's got the A. That could flow together. Carson, you tagged us in something? Let me see. I don't see it. Let me see. Q6, ¿cómo te va? Todo bien, espero que estés bien. Si acabas de llegar aquí, no te perdiste mucho, la verdad. You just got here. You haven't missed out too much. You haven't missed too much. Think about this: 10-2 in playoffs is only one more win over last year. No, 100%.
That checked out.
And that's just the crazy thing, man. I mean, if you have one more, wait, send it to my personal page now. Wait, send it to the Miller's Edge because that's where we're logged in there. At the Miller's Edge. Would you send it to us or did you tag us in it? Try tagging us in it at the Miller's Edge on X. I'll pull it up. Those bowl game patches were huge. Yeah, they are pretty big. That's why I was saying it wouldn't be like that. If it was more like that Lakers one right there, I think it would be solid. I think it'd have to be something like that, though. Personally, I mean, I guess it could be anything, whatever makes money. Okay, yeah, I think we just got it. Let's see. All right, bet. Yeah, we just got it. Let's see what Carson just shared with us. Again, if you guys want, make sure you follow us on X at the Miller's Edge. That way you can always keep up to date with everything. But also, that way you can share with us anything, just like Carson just did. You just tag us in it. We'll pull it up. We like reacting to stuff. You guys know what I mean. Like send us clips, we'll react to it. Oh, we got Ellis on the phone lines too. This is what Carson shared.
Confident you're getting insurance that's right for you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
Oh, this. Oh. And welcome back into Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. Real quick reminder about our friends over at R&R Cigars. Make sure you guys check them out for all your cigar needs. Best humidor in the Southeast. rnrcigars.com is where you can go on their website, get all those great deals on the website. Code Miller's Edge. Don't forget, use that code. You get 20% off right there. You see it on the screen here on YouTube. At the Miller's Edge, use code Miller's Edge and get 20% off all your orders. 2703 Gary Fitz Street is where you find them here in Tuscaloosa. They put on all the fights, where there's UFC boxing, all that stuff, and you don't want to miss out on those things. They pay for the fights. That way you don't have to, and you also can enjoy the best humidor in the Southeast, one of 160 bourbons. You can't beat it. Again, that is R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. The Cigar Mansion, as you guys see on the screen right there, they got those custom cigars with the footballs on them. Tennessee week, I'm telling you, make sure you guys go get those. They always have the sickest cigar selection, and those are always my favorite with the football on them, man. It just looks really cool. All right, that being said, Carson tagged us in this post. We've been talking about some changes to the uniforms. Really, we're talking about the patches, right? Because we know that's one way to generate some revenue. LSU, if you guys are just tuning in, shout out to Jamie. I think they just got here. Good morning / afternoon, Roll Tide. We were talking about putting patches on jerseys, generating some revenue for the revenue sharing. LSU is going to do it. Other schools are probably going to do it. Would you guys care or be concerned if Alabama did it? Well, kind of led us into, tradition, things like that. I mentioned the white helmets. I think I would be okay with the white helmets. I'm curious what y'all think about that. But Carson tagged us in this right here. And this was from 06. And I think they paid tribute to the houndstooth, right? The tradition with the houndstooth, all that stuff. And they threw it on the collar of the jersey. I'll be honest. And for you guys watching on YouTube and Facebook, I want you guys to tell me y'all's opinion, because you guys can see this. Radio listeners, if not, pull up the stream. You can see what we're looking at the Miller's Edge on YouTube, Facebook, Tide 100.9, or just Google 2006 houndstooth Alabama jersey. But it's got houndstooth on the collar. And while it looks different, I don't hate it, Carson, but I don't love it. Something looks a little, I don't know. Younger self would be like, hell yeah, screw it, let's rock it. Older me, because I'm a good whopping old 29 years old now. I don't know, Chase, man. When you look at that, I mean, Alabama, we stick to our tradition. What do you think about that? I mean, if we did something small like that for a game, how would you feel about that, Chase? The houndstooth on the collar.
I wouldn't feel too incredibly bad to see it for a game. Maybe if it was, against Auburn because Coach Bryant was so dominant against Auburn, something that means something. But if it was for a season or the foreseeable future, yeah, I would need a lot more changes to the jersey than just like the collar of it. So I don't know. How would you feel? Do you like the design? Do you feel like it's just too much, or it's just like it is what it is?
I think look. You know what's crazy? Like this is just one simple thing, but to me, it really pops. It stands out a lot, right? Carson said, I thought it was a cool tribute, but a lot of Bama fans would probably hate that. I thought it was a nice remix, though. No, I feel that. No, and look, like for one game type deal, like I said, I don't hate it. I don't love it, but it does. It's a little flashy, even though it's one simple change. But what I think I would like if we were to do something would be like make it a subtle difference where like say there's like a houndstooth design, but like the color's the same. Like so say the collar was the same color, but you can just see the pattern of houndstooth. And then run that along like the stripe on like the pants or something, like have like a houndstooth, but like again, it's still crimson. Does that make sense, guys? So it almost is on like what do they call it? Like when you just I forgot the term I'm looking for. But imagine like if that houndstooth on the collar was still red, but different shades of crimson. Whoa, different shades of crimson to where you see the houndstooth, but it's not black and white like that. That almost looks like one of these sweet old Alabama women, donated something and then you got it from a thrift store and you sewed it on it like on the collar. it's I don't know, or like on like the stripe, put like a invisible type crimson pattern. I don't know. I think you guys can understand what I'm trying to explain. I know it. I don't know. Dwight said Ellis the caveman. Yeah, we do have Ellis on the phone line, so we need to get to him. And what else we got here before we do that? Justin says it doesn't look bad, but it ain't like wow either. I don't feel bad about it, though. What about white helmets, guys? As we go to Ellis, let me know in the chat, at message on Facebook, whatever. Would y'all be okay with the white helmet for a game? I know that conversation comes up like once a year. We haven't really hit it. So while we're on this topic real quick, I'm just curious. What would y'all feel about a white helmet throwback? I'm sharing this on the screen. This is a prototype here. I'm not gonna lie to you guys with the all white. First of all white uniforms at Alabama, I'm not gonna lie, always are so cold, man. That all white is clean. That all white was like my favorite, I think, combo. Even though what we have like what white on white, red on white, but white on white was dope. It always just looked real clean, man. But would y'all be cool throwing the white helmets on there though? Carson says that's so clean. I'm not gonna lie, it's clean. And look, and it counts as tradition though. That's why I think it's like you're meeting in the middle because look, they're wearing a white helmet right there. Look, Bear Bryant. Those guys are wearing white helmets, man. So it's like you're twisting. You're. Oh wow. I mean, we low key look like some candy canes, but like the white on red jersey on white pant is kind of clean too. I low key kind of think it's cool. Now we probably would have to be playing like a small trash school for me to really be okay with us doing that. Cause like, I don't know if I feel great about pulling that out against Georgia. But I mean, Louisiana Monroe, screw it. Why not? Let's wear them. All right. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we go back to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. We've got Ellis the Caveman. I think Dwight came up with that nickname. I think that's going to be your nickname, Ellis. Ellis the Caveman coming up here in a minute. Plus, we still got this video to get to from On3 and PFF. We'll break those down if we got enough time. Worst case, we'll hit them tomorrow. But all that should be coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. If you look up the 2010 Nike Combat jerseys, they did some houndstooth, but we never wore them against Mississippi State. We were supposed to. Maybe that's where I was getting that reference from. I think they had something on them like that. Why didn't we wear them, though? Did Coach Saban say, hell no? When I tell y'all he used to be so strict on the uniform stuff, man. Y'all want to hear something funny? One time we were doing, so the way it used to work was before we went out for pregame, we used to do like a quick stretch in the locker room. And so we went out by groups. And so it'd be specialists go first, right? Returners, punters, snappers, they go first. And then it was like skill, and then like rest of team, something like that. So like the quarterback, receiver, so they go out and throw a little bit. And then the rest of the team, we were like the last group. And this is at home. I forgot who we were playing, but the stretch was like, and everybody did like the specialists would do the stretch, then they'd go out there. Next group would do their stretch, they go out there. So it was our turns, the rest of the team. And basically you partner up with somebody. So it's two people and you work together, do a quick stretch. And Cochran would lead it, right? So it'd be just like simple stuff, right? So it'd be like, hamstring stretch. Like you're pushing your partner's leg back, hitting the hamstrings out wide, knee to chest, stuff like that. Then you flip. It was a quick little just before you run out there, kind of just to get your legs loose to run through the tunnel maybe. So you don't pull nothing running onto the field. I don't know, right? But anyway, so we're doing that. And I'm not even going to say names. But we had one of our teammates, he had literally like band. Like he had like 4 or 5 bands on each arm. So like literally like his whole arm was like, he had literally like those like bicep bands, like 4 or 5 of them on each arm, which I'm sure you've probably seen some guys do this, but it's definitely a lot, right? And he wasn't like a starter, and at this time he wasn't contributing like, in a big capacity. If it was like a key starter, coach probably would have let it slide, but he didn't really play too much at the time. And he just happened to be stretching right there in front of Coach Saban. Coach Saban used to just sit there with his hand, like his arms folded like that, just watching. You could tell Coach Saban always had like, I wouldn't call it like nervous energy, but it was almost like nervous / like, low key, I think it was kind of not like nervous, like he's nervous about the game, but like eager, right? Like he's antsy, right? So he's quick to kind of snap when he was in those moments. And the dude happened to be stretching right there in front of Coach Saban. And normally he didn't say much during this time, but I guess he just saw the bands. And when I tell you he got so mad, he literally just blew up on the spot and just like, I can't even say it, but, what the hell are you doing? Take all that shit. Like, just start cussing them out, ripping them about the bands, take it off, take all that, like going in, and then gave a whole spiel to everybody. Like, we don't need to wear all this. Like, and he just went in, man. And I felt so bad because I was like, damn, bro. I was like, it definitely just made an example, bro. Wait, Carson, that's funny. How do you wait? Carson, Carson, were you in the locker room? How do you know this stuff, man?
Storms by afternoon behind 91.
Low key, it was though. It was. He went in on them too. It was bad.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back to the Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, I was trying to pull up that Nike Pro Combat 2010, I guess, uniform that allegedly we never wore. Not having too much luck. I'll keep trying to find it. Dang, you know what? Carson literally knows so much about Alabama football. It's almost insane, man. It's almost blown me away. I mean, the fact that you know, like what people used to literally used to wear. Let me quiz you, Carson. What was my go-to? Like, let's say like my senior year, junior/senior year, or just say senior year. We'll make it simple. What was my go-to game day swag? Because you obviously know so much. What was my go-to? It was pretty simple, but it was sleek, simple though. It was clean though. I feel like you'll know it. And don't look this. Don't Google it either. Don't cheat. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. Just tell you, off the rip. I want to see it. Drop the comment. I'm gonna give you like 5 seconds, or else I'm gonna think you're Googling it. It's not too hard. There's not much we could really even get away with anyway. So come on, man. You got to get this right. All right. That being said, while he's doing that, let's go to the phone lines. We got Caveman Ellis up next. White sleeve. There you go. You're a winner, Carson. That's exactly right. So we're the white sleeve, man. I used to rock it on my right arm, I believe, most of the time, because I was. Wait, damn. Now I'm forgetting. I don't even remember. Anyway, yes, white sleeves answer. Ellis, welcome in. I don't know if you've heard, but you've got a new nickname. Thanks to Dwight. Your name is now Ellis the Caveman, thanks to the picture.
Yeah, Caveman Ellis.
Yeah, Caveman Ellis, Ellis the Caveman, whichever one you prefer. It's up to you. Let us know.
That's all right. Either one of them, fine with me.
All right, so you're on board with it. So you like it?
Hey, I like white helmets, not all the time, but I think when we wore like white uniforms, we should wear the white helmets.
I don't know if you're on the YouTube stream today. I know you paid us a visit yesterday, but I've got a picture. Oh no, you're good. No worries. No worries. No worries. The only reason I say that is I hadn't seen the white helmets with like the red jersey combo. Allegedly, we wore this combo. If I had to guess what year this was probably late 90s, maybe. I don't know. Sometime in the 90s, it looks like, but we wore white helmets with crimson jerseys and white pants. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought you only could really get away with the white on white on white, but this don't look too bad myself. I mean, do you think you could get away with it with the crimson jersey too, or just the white?
Right. Well, that does sound good. I forgot about that, but yeah, the white helmet with the crimson jersey.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I just don't want all the changing of the uniform like Oregon does and everything.
Like Oregon or Ole Miss, you don't want. I mean, Ole Miss, they change up their uniforms a good bit. I'll be honest with you. I think
does it.
I don't mind. Ole Miss switches them up every now and then, but it's not too. I'll be honest. For other places, I don't mind it. Here, it would just be weird. Here it would be weird, but I think it makes sense, right? I think Oregon makes sense that they're known for that. Their reputation literally is to have those types of all those combos. Mike says, I wonder how much Oregon spends on all those different combinations. I would imagine, I mean, it's probably a lot of money, but obviously Phil Knight, the connections with Nike, I mean, he's probably fronting the bill, man. So I think they'll be just fine, but it's probably expensive for sure.
But the white helmet with the crimson jersey, yeah,
it looks good. It looks good. If you get a chance, you can go back on the YouTube stream later if you want. You can see we had
I will.
We have it pulled up. You can go back watch it later. But let me ask you this, Ellis. Well, on the topic of jerseys, and we know Alabama is very traditional. How would you feel if Alabama sold, a brand patch to put on their jersey to be able to help cover the cost of this revenue sharing that they're going to be paying? Say, for example, like Mercedes-Benz, we kept throwing that one around. If you saw a Mercedes-Benz logo right there on that shoulder of the players with the jersey patch, similar to what you see with the playoff patches, would you be okay with that if it helps kind of front the bill for the new revenue sharing model?
110,000%, yes.
That's a lot of a percent.
If it's going to help pay for what we're doing now, yes.
Yeah.
I got no problem with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree. Yeah, I mean, I said earlier, I just think it has to be the right one, man. It has to look clean, can't do too much. The right brand. Like, I know we do a lot of work with Golden Flake. I'm not trying to hit Golden Flake with a stray, but I don't think I'd want to see Golden Flake on Alabama jersey, man.
No. It has to be a brand like Mercedes.
Preferably no food. Yeah, and preferably probably no food, right? I don't know if I'd want food.
Yeah, something with class. If we're going to do it, it'd have to be something with class. And Mercedes is class.
Yeah, I think that could work. Definitely think it could work. Maybe I'll just I'll raise up a whole bunch of money, and maybe we'll put the Miller's Edge on the corner of that jersey or somewhere. Yeah, you know, I mean, look, I mean, we got to
have the Miller's Edge on the jersey.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. That'd look good.
Speaking of not football, and y'all were talking about cave, I'm fixing to go to a local waterfall here. You know, because it's real screaming. It's screaming ass hot. If you don't mind me saying that.
I don't mind at all. But let me ask you this though, Ellis. I mean, do you live in Narnia? Are you opening up a closet door or a dresser to get to these places? Because again, every place you go to just doesn't seem like it should exist in Nashville. I'm almost convinced that you're like the guy from Narnia, right? I don't know if are you familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia? You've never heard of the Chronicles of Narnia?
No.
So it when I was a kid, man, there's a book and a movie, but it basically was there was like this dresser, if I remember correctly. And I think it actually might have some Bible references. I could be wrong, but anyway, it's like this dresser. They open the dresser and they end up in this place called Narnia, man. There's like a goat or a guy that's like half sheep, half man, like a lion that talks and stuff. I feel like that's like where you're at, man, in terms of like all the caves and waterfalls and blueberry farms with landscapes that look like they're from a painting. You sound like you're describing Narnia, Ellis. I'm starting to think you might be from the novel.
It could be. Well, I'm always, I'm always doing something, going somewhere, doing something.
Yeah, and it's never just like basic stuff. It's always like extravagant, adventurous stuff, man. They need to write a book about it, or a movie. Movie probably would be better.
I need to get my daughter to write a book about me because she's wrote 2 books. So.
Yeah. Oh wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to make that happen. We need to sit down with her. Just tell her I'll be like co-producer since I'm helping kind of put it together. Just put me as some type of contributor, man. And we'll rock it out, man. We'll make sure that book gets published.
Yeah, we can do that. And this where I'm at right now is in Manchester. That's where I live. It's in Manchester, Tennessee. But that waterfall is like probably less than 5 miles from my house.
Wow.
And
so you just happen to live near waterfalls, man. I love it.
Yeah.
It sounds very peaceful.
Where's that place at? Narnia? Is that what you said?
Narnia. Yeah, you need to look it up. The Chronicles of Narnia. It's a great book, man, by C.S. Lewis. It was something I read like as a kid. It's probably more of like a teen type novel, but really good book. And there's a movie with it too. But anyway, I think it's actually got like some Bible type reference. I could be wrong, but it was really popular back in the day, man, when I was younger, which, I mean, like early, I guess, 2000s, not too long ago. But I think the book was way older than that. I think the book was like from like 50s, 60s, something like that. I don't know. Check it out, though.
I will. And I'll post these pictures or a video or whatever. Please do.
Please do, man. We'll be on the lookout for Ellis the Caveman. We appreciate you, brother.
Ellis the Caveman. Roll Tide there, Christian.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide, man. Sounds like he enjoys that nickname. Shout out to Dwight, man. Caveman, Ellis the Caveman. One and the same. They both work. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We got 2 more callers to get to. We got our buddy Pat. We got Wayne. You guys are coming up next on this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC. Oh, wait, hold on. So Dwight wanted the L because he likes Lexus. But, yeah, I'm with Carson, man. L, though, we can't put an L on the jersey. We would be a meme. I feel like we can't have an L. But to be fair, though, you talk about simplicity. That from that perspective, that could work. But then we'd have like a big L on our jersey. You like Caveman Ellis? Yeah, it's a little bit smoother. All right, Caveman Ellis. That's his name. It's his official name. We just gave him that name, or you did. So shout out to you. I give you credit for it. Caveman Ellis. I love Ellis, man. Ellis is a man. Ellis is so nice too. Ellis has brought yellow meat watermelon. Like he drove it down from Tennessee just for us, me and a couple other folks over at the station. He comes and hangs out with us when we do our show during the season. Great dude, man. Really, really, really nice dude. Works hard. He's always on the road doing something, working, and he's great man. Great support of the show, man. Oh, you'll be down at the Vandy game, Carson? Yeah, let me know when you're down here, man. I already told Mike. Mike is going to be down there. It's his first game in years. I told him I'm going to definitely make sure I try to catch up with them. And we should have it set up. The official details will be out soon, where we're going to be set up doing our show and all that. But you guys are definitely more, welcome to come hang out. I invite everybody to do that. But we'll love to chop it up with all you guys, man. The big 3-0. Yeah, man, we'll definitely have to link up. No doubt about it. We're not going to have time to get to that PFF video, but it's all good. We'll save it for tomorrow.
More than 60.
We'll save it for tomorrow. That give us stuff to dive into tomorrow. Anytime we get you guys lined up on the phone lines, I love going to you guys because it gives us a chance to really let you guys get the floor. We can always go, break stuff down. Let's see what it was talking about, though.
Even with a disappointing year in 2024, though, expectations are still sky high for the Crimson Tide in 2025. They should have one of the best defenses in college football, stars at every single position. The offense has one of the brightest stars in the country in Ryan Williams, who's the cover athlete of EA College Football 26. There is a question mark at quarterback, which we'll get into in a little bit, but Dawn, really the biggest strength of this team probably is the defense.
I would agree, right? We had a top 10 player at every position on defense with this team. You look at their defensive line starting with LT Overton and Tim Keenan. You look at their linebackers with Deontay Lawson and Justin Jefferson and Nakai Hill-Green. Then you talk about the secondary with Keon Sapp, Bray Hubbard, Damani Jackson, Cam Calhoun, all just a loaded secondary. What you have is a true three-layer defense that could be the best defense in the country if everything.
So there's a little preview for tomorrow. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We got, a few minutes left, so we're going to get these two calls in. Wayne, don't go anywhere. Pat is first, but we want to make sure we get you on and have plenty of time. So stay on the lines. We're coming to you in just a couple minutes. But first, we got Pat up next. Pat, welcome in. Or we might be going to you sooner. Pat, you still there? Going once, twice. All right, Chase, if Pat dropped, we'll go ahead and go to Wayne and see if he's there. Wayne, you with us?
I'm here, buddy.
There he is. What's up, Wayne?
First thing I want to do, I'm a first-time caller to your show. I call into Ryan's show a lot. But I wanted to say I really enjoyed your career here at the university. You were one of my favorite players. And you were really good for us here.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. And appreciate you calling, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, I'm in a wheelchair. I'm a 1996 graduate of the university.
Nice,
Got a
nice.
journalism. Had a bachelor's degree in journalism. And I follow Alabama football very closely. I watch every game. And I'm also into politics, but I won't get into that on here because I know that can be divisive. But, I just let you know that I really appreciate your career here, and I really enjoy listening to your dad from time to time.
Oh yeah, he can stir the pot, but it's entertaining, man. As long as you come prepared and it's an entertainment factor, right? We play good cop, bad cop. Obviously, I'm the good cop, and he's the bad one. But listen, man, he's definitely he's fun. Once you, because that's what everybody says at first when they first hear it, they're hearing his takes, and he can be harsh, and they immediately they react, and they're like, "What is he talking about? I hate this dude, man." Maybe not hate him, but they're like, "I don't like this guy." But then once they come around, they start hearing more of it. They understand it's more entertainment. There are some guys out there, I will say. I'm not gonna say names, but there are some people that they are really despisable, man. Hell, my dad brings one up all like Danny Cannell. I hate to say it, but like that one's a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like my dad, like he'll come back around. He'll stir the pot. We'll get into it. He'll come back around. But guys like Cannell, man, I hate to say it, but there's no coming back around with a guy like that. Everything he spews out is just annoying, man. So
he's a Bama hater. He always has been. But
Bama, SEC hater. I mean, but then he worships Florida State, and I get it. He played there, whatever. But Jesus, brother, that's why. Speaking of him, we better blow Florida State out for that reason alone. I don't care what I do care. Quarterback can talk, but I promise, Wayne, I will not be able to deal with Danny Cannell if we don't handle business the way we need to handle business. Because I don't want to hear it.
Tallahassee. I'm confident of that.
Oh yeah.
Castellano's brother Chuck, he can't catch, I think. But anyway, I'm just going to leave you by saying that I enjoy. I can't listen to your show a lot because I'm busy this time of the day, but I had some time today, thought I'd call in, and I listen when I can, but I can't always. But have a good day. Roll Tide to you.
Yeah, you too, man. Roll Tide, Wayne. Thank you so much. Hey,
South Carolina's going to be one heck of a ball game in Columbia this year.
Man, it's gonna be a good one. I'm definitely gonna be tuned into it. Obviously, me and my dad will probably have a friendly wager on that one, but yeah, we're looking forward to that. But Wayne, I appreciate you tuning in, man. And hey, you can always go back and watch the show on YouTube if you ever want to. But thank you so much for calling, man. Great to have you call in for the first time.
Good day. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir. You too. Take care. Good to you, man. We got some really nice people, man. Pretty much everybody. There's one or two callers that have called that have been a little bit of a headache, but not anybody that calls in. I'm talking about if you guys have listened in the past, there's been one or two guys that we don't really take their calls anymore because it's just nonsense. But yeah, we got some great people, man. Appreciate that. Thank you, Wayne. Chase, did Pat circle back? I know he dropped by accident. Is he back on there? Did he want to hop back on here? Or he's just gonna wait till tomorrow?
He hasn't called back on the phone lines.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I just want to make sure if he was, we get to him. All right, that being said, we got a few minutes left. I don't think we have enough time to hit that video. And I don't even want to play half of it because then we'll kind of throw us off for tomorrow. I will say we probably got a couple things over bookmarked on Twitter that we could hit real quick. Obviously, we hit, that was one thing. We can mention this. Or actually, we'll finish. I'll mention it, but we'll cover it tomorrow. Then we'll wrap up last couple minutes talking about what we mentioned yesterday we were going to dive into. And that was what month will be the most difficult. But what I wanted to mention was Texas Tech. Keep this in y'all's minds for tomorrow. Now, I mentioned yesterday about them paying the $5.1 million to the offensive tackle for the 3-year deal guaranteed. Well, they're back on the stage again. This time, looks like they're in the running for a 5-star edge player who I would imagine is probably about to secure himself a pretty healthy deal as well. So what I want you guys to think about is how do we feel about a team doing that type of approach where they basically are going to buy themselves or hopefully buy themselves into a competitive situation? And two, I guess, do you guys think that will actually work? Do you guys think this investment will pay off? Because again, Texas Tech in the Big 12, not like a terrible program, but do you think these investments that they're healthy investments, they're very hefty. Do you think it will pay off to the point where we might be able to see them on the national stage? There are, expanded playoffs that helps open the door a little bit further for them. but just makes you wonder, man. I just know if I'm the dude dropping all this money, because we know they got big money, but two, this is now coming from revenue sharing. We'll see. We'll see if that ends up paying off. The other thing, though, we can close out on, we got a couple minutes here, is we talked about the toughest month. Obviously, you guys don't have too much time to answer. If you guys want to drop it in the chat real quick, let me know. But looking at this schedule, August, September, you got Florida State, ULM, Wisconsin, and Georgia. Both Florida State and Georgia both being away games. October, you've got Vanderbilt, Missouri away, Tennessee home, South Carolina away. Then November, you've got LSU at home, Oklahoma at home, Eastern Illinois. We got the logo right this time. And then Auburn away. This is coming from the Dynasty. Again, Chris Stewart, AJ McCarron, and Trent Richardson, their podcast. They put this out there. What month do we think would be the toughest? I was torn yesterday, Chase, between October and November. But, man, they always say you want to be playing your best ball in November. And October is always that grind because you're in the middle of the season. So I know yesterday I was leaning towards November. I'll be honest, to me, it's really a coin flip. But I'll tell you from like a player perspective, from experience, October's grind is tough, man, especially when your bye week is, again, typically that bye week comes after that South Carolina game, heading into that LSU game. And I know last year we had the bye week. Chase, what was it? The bye week was it before Georgia or after last year? It was before, I believe, right? Because I think we had the first 3 games last year, had the bye week, then we played Georgia. But what I'm getting at is there's typically not really a bye week in that month of October. You just got like a SEC grind. And from my personal experience playing in the league, October was always a tough month. The way you viewed November was like we knew we had tough games because, you normally have like that LSU game in November and Auburn for sure in November, and they always were challenging games. But you knew you have one small opponent that kind of broke it up. So even though you might not necessarily – you'd have a bye week before LSU. You have to get through that game knowing that's going to be a physical matchup. Whoever the next opponent would be, which this year is Oklahoma, that's going to be tough. But make it through those games. Not saying you disrespect Eastern Illinois and you look ahead, but let's just call a spade a spade. Eastern Illinois should allow you to kind of regroup a little bit. Obviously, you want to still play to your standard, but you guys understand what I'm getting at. And then you got to finish the right way with Auburn. So now that I revisit this, I mean, even though I think November could be damn near as difficult, I do believe with the bye week, as long as that's still true, which I think it should be, and then a team like that before you go to Auburn, kind of a little cleanup, tune-up type deal, I would probably lean towards October, even though I'll be honest with you, I think this October definitely feels manageable. I mean, Vanderbilt, we know they're better than what they have been, but fair. And I'll be honest, I don't think Missouri's going to be as good as they were the last couple of years. Tennessee, at least you got them at home, plus quarterback situation. We'll see what they got there. South Carolina, that's going to be your toughest one of that month. I'm going to lean towards October for my answer there for the toughest month this upcoming season. That being said, we got to wrap things up. Pass things over to T-Town Sports Daily. Coming up next right here, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Appreciate everybody, all the callers on this Talking Tuesday edition, all the people in the chat here on YouTube, on Facebook. Appreciate all you guys that join us in the live stream, all you listeners on radio, all you listeners on the Tide 100.9 app. Big thanks to Chase Behind the Glass, everybody that contributes. Appreciate everybody. Look forward to doing it again in 22 hours right here on the Miller's Edge, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Support Experts, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. We see you guys then.